I've been on the carnivore diet now for 30 days. And in this episode, I want to share with you my experience on the carnivore diet, the benefits I've seen, what I've learned, as well as the challenges that I've faced to help someone who might be thinking about going on this diet or for someone who just wants some more information. So let's get right to it. First, let's talk about what the carnivore diet even is. It's eating any product that comes from an animal. Dr. Ken Berry calls the carnivore diet the proper human diet because this is how human beings have been eating for thousands and thousands of years. Beef, butter, bacon, eggs, pork, chicken, fish, and some people on the carnivore diet also include dairy. I'm not personally including it. I'll talk about why that is a little bit later in this video. But this is how people have been eating for thousands of years. It's only in the last few hundred years that we have more than triple or quadrupled our intake of carbohydrates and sugar and cooking all of our foods in high fat seed oils that are terrible for your body. And the beautiful thing about the carnivore diet and why a lot of people go on it is because a lot of people have actually been able to reverse specific diseases on the carnivore diet. They've been able to reverse or completely eliminate autoimmune diseases, type 1, type 2 diabetes. And you might be thinking, how can you eliminate or reverse type 1 diabetes? It's not possible. Well, people like Jordan Peterson and his daughter, Michaela Peterson, have been on carnivore diet for a long time now, for upwards of a decade, maybe even longer. And they're even stricter in the sense that they only eat red meat and water. So you can become as strict with this diet as you want, but the main reason why a lot of people do it is to reverse disease, to feel better, to have more energy, and to lose weight. So there's a lot of different reasons why you might consider doing the carnivore diet. Carnivore is also considered a ketogenic diet because your body is switching from burning carbohydrates for fuel to burning fat for fuel. It's a completely different metabolic state. And a lot of people, a lot of doctors agree that it is the proper metabolic state for a human being to be in. Now let's talk about the reason why I started the carnivore diet 30 days ago. And to have this make sense, I got to give you a little bit of information on where I come from health-wise. I'm 29 years old right now. And for my entire life, I have struggled with my body and I've struggled with my relationship with food. I grew up in a middle-class household where I had all the things I wanted. I got all the food that I wanted. We had the cupboards full of chips and snacks and anything that you can just go to the cupboard, grab a snack, and boom, you've inhaled 500 calories within 2 minutes. That was my upbringing. My parents used to keep milk in the house, and I would drink a gallon of milk probably every few days. And I grew up as a chunky kid. I grew up as a fat kid. And my whole upbringing, I was told by family, oh, you're just big boned. So my whole upbringing, I thought I was fat because of the way I was born. But really, I was fat and unhealthy because of what I was eating and what I was putting into my body. I was fat up until I was 13, 14, 15 years old in middle school and early high school. And what generally happens at those ages? You want to find a girlfriend, you want to find a boyfriend. And it's hard to do that if you don't take care of yourself, if you don't feel good about yourself. So I started to say, what do I need to do in order to lose weight? Because I thought losing weight was the solution. I thought I just need to lose weight. So what did I do? I stopped eating. I only ate a little bit. I started taking thermogenics from GNC. I started taking all these different pills, these miracle diet pills like the acai berry that used to show up on Facebook ads, and I would buy all these things. And, you know, some of it worked. Not eating and taking thermogenics actually will help you lose weight, but it's not a long-term sustainable solution. And for a few years, I was very, very, very thin. I was super skinny in my junior and senior year of high school. And to the point where I had teachers questioning me on whether I was on drugs or not. They're like, Brandon, how are you losing this weight? And I'm like, I just stopped eating a lot and I stopped eating all the junk. And I've been taking these thermogenics. And they're like, Brandon, are you on drugs? And I'm like, no, I'm not on drugs. But it's hard to understand your relationship with your body and food at that young age. So I didn't really know how to respond to those people. But then I gained all the weight back. I started a job in sales where you don't move as much. And I started trying this diet and I started trying that diet. And it wasn't until I met a mentor of mine in my life who took me under his wing. He introduced me to fitness. He taught me how to work out at least 3 days a week. And for the next 5 to 6 years, and really up until today, I have been much better when it comes to my physical body. I started the Be Better broadcast, which is what you're listening to, because I want to help other people to master their body. I want to help them master their emotions. I want to talk to experts and bring them on the show to bring a lot of different philosophies and a lot of different solutions that can help you to feel better. And recently, about 3 months ago, I worked with a man named Ben Wilcox, and he's a friend of mine. And Ben started the Carnivore Diet for many of the same reasons that I wanted to start it. And within a month, he lost over 20 pounds. He looked incredible. He felt a lot better. Ben says this himself. He dealt with depression, and it really helped with his depression going on the Carnivore Diet. So I was like, Ben, this is something that I think that I want to try. And he's like, dude, you can totally do it. I'll guide you through. I'll tell you everything you need to know. I'll send you the videos. I'll show you the supplements. I'll show you the snacks that you can eat, all these things. So for like a week or two, I was like, I don't know. I don't really know how to cook. I don't really know, what meats I should buy. I'd have to completely rehaul my life, because I'm someone who I was ordering out. My wife and I would order from all these different local restaurants, and we never cooked at home. And if we ever cooked, it was to throw French fries in an air fryer or to cook ramen or something like that. So it required a complete rehaul of the way that I ate, of the way that I structured my day. And I finally said, you know what? I'm going to start the Carnivore Diet. I'm going to start today. And it was Christmas Eve that I started this diet. And when I record this video today, it's the 25th of January. So it's technically been a month and 1 day on carnivore. And let me tell you, it's the best thing that I have done for myself in a long time. The benefits I've seen just 30 days on the Carnivore Diet have been astounding. I was about 225 pounds on Christmas Eve, and now I'm 205 pounds. I've lost 20 pounds, and I weighed myself 3 days ago, so it might even be more at this point. But I didn't do this to lose weight. I wasn't a fat guy. I was still lean. I was still fitting well into my suits. But now I fit even better into my clothing. I feel really good about myself when I look in the mirror. I feel lighter. I feel more energetic. And I think that's one of the biggest benefits I've seen so far, is I feel full of energy. I wake up in the morning now not feeling gross from the meal that I ate the night before. I feel good until I eat my first meal around noon. I'll generally eat 2 meals a day. I'll eat around noon, and then I'll eat a little bit later in the afternoon at about 6 p.m. So I guess I should say evening, not afternoon. So I'll eat 2 meals a day. And even after my meals, I feel really good. I'll eat, like today, to give you an example, I took cod out of the freezer. So I'm going to cook some cod for lunch. And for dinner, I'm going to make some burgers and some bacon. And I've got this 0 carb, 0 sugar buffalo sauce, and I'm going to put on the burger patties, and I'm going to put over the bacon. So that's going to be my eating for the day. Even after I eat these big meals, my energy is high, because I'm not stuffing myself with these carbohydrates. I'm not stuffing myself with all this sugar that makes me feel bad, or that gives me a temporary high and then causes me to crash. So I've lost 20 pounds. My energy levels have been great. And I feel this mental clarity now after a month of doing this that kicked in about 3 weeks into the process, where I just feel sharper. When I'm recording podcasts, I feel sharper. When I am making a presentation to customers at my job, I feel sharper. My energy is different. And because of that, the people around me feel the difference in my energy as well. So the benefits for me have been amazing. And that story is consistent for practically everybody who starts a carnivore diet. What I've learned on the carnivore is several really cool things. One, I've learned how to cook. And I'm not cooking fancy meals. I'm cooking eggs. I'm cooking steaks. I've been using the air fryer. I've been pan frying. I've been using this little grill device that my wife bought for me a few days into me becoming a carnivore. I've learned how to cook, right? And for those of you who already cook and you're like, dude, I can't believe you weren't cooking before. Let me tell you, for those of you who aren't cooking right now, I've saved a lot of money on carnivore. I'm probably saving, realistically, and this is going to sound crazy to you maybe, but I'm saving $500 to $700 every single month on food, because I'm not door dashing. I'm not buying takeout. My wife and I haven't gone out as much, but we are spending more time together in the house, cooking together. She's doing her thing. I'm doing my thing. And because of that, she's eating better now, because we're not eating this junk food together. So carnivore has really helped in my relationship as well as sort of a byproduct. Another thing that's really interesting that I've learned is before carnivore, I would feel hungry all the time. And I would feel snacky, and I would go to the cupboards and I would grab a bag of chips, or I would grab some nuts, or I would go grab a yogurt or something from the fridge or something from the pantry. And you learn very quickly that you weren't actually hungry. It was just your sugar and carbohydrate brain telling you that you want some food, either because you're bored or you want to spike your insulin or whatever it is. You learn that hunger isn't really hunger. And when I say this, what I mean is now when I'm hungry for meat, it's not like I'm saying to myself, I'm starving, I need to make a meal right now. Even when I'm really hungry on carnivore, it's a feeling that's almost like, I could eat right now. And when I do eat, it's going to taste really good. Because you got to think about how we used to be as human beings in the tribes. We used to hunt, bring back the deer, the elk, or the caribou, or whatever it was we're eating, the bear, who knows. And we might have gone a week without hunting for an animal. So back in the day, you weren't hungry, seeking all these cravings. Back in the day, your body knew how to sustain you until you got a proper meal, which was always a meal that consisted of meat and animal products. So I don't feel hungry throughout the day anymore, which is amazing. I only feel an urge to eat when I'm actually hungry. And even at that point, it's not like an unbearable hunger that I can't continue waiting for. So you begin to relearn what hunger really is, and you begin to relearn what your hunger signals actually feel like as a human being. So let's talk about what you might have been waiting for this whole video, which is what are the challenges of starting a carnivore diet? And for me, one of the biggest challenges was learning how to cook. I was watching a lot of YouTube videos. I was looking up different carnivore recipes to switch things up. But really, I think the biggest adjustment for me was the first week or two of going on carnivore. And a lot of people, like the Steak and Butter Gal is a great resource for those looking to go on carnivore. Dr. Ken Berry, Dr. Anthony Chafee. The Steak and Butter Gal specifically says that you should transition to carnivore over the course of a month. And the reason she says that is because if you just go all in and switch from whatever standard American diet or vegan or vegetarian or whatever you're doing right now, and you immediately just start to eat meat and that's it, your body is going to go through some significant carbohydrate and sugar withdrawals. It's like smoking cigarettes and then stopping and then not expecting any emotions or any certain feelings or any certain urges. And that's the way that I did it. On Christmas Eve, I was like, I am just going to go all in on this. I'm the type of person where if I'm going to do something, I have to go all in. I don't want to transition into something, but I know not everyone's the same way. So if you're someone who knows yourself and you know that it's better for you to transition, then by all means, do what you need to do. The Steak and Butter Gal has some great introductory videos to start carnivore. I'm going to link one of her videos in the description for you. I'm going to have a resources section in the description that you can go to and you can check out some videos from several different influencers in the carnivore space who are much more knowledgeable on this than me. Several of them are doctors. So I went all in on carnivore. In the first week or two, I definitely felt those carbohydrate withdrawals and I definitely felt the sugar withdrawals. And it wasn't crazy. I've spent 29 years of my life eating a standard American diet. And then the first week or two, it was a little rough, but it wasn't unbearable. I was able to do it. The biggest challenge, I think, was, and not to gross people out, but I just want to be fully transparent with you. One of the biggest challenges was because your gut microbiome is completely shifting from breaking down all these junk foods and this garbage food and these carbs and the sugar, and it goes to breaking down only meat and animal products, your gut is completely changing. It's rehauling itself. And it causes diarrhea in the first week or two. And some people face this for longer. Some people face it for shorter. My mom and my dad started carnivore and they only experienced this diarrhea for maybe a week or so. For me, it was like several weeks. And, it wasn't to the point where I couldn't hold it. It was to the point where I was like, okay, that came out of nowhere and I had to go to the bathroom as soon as possible. So again, not to be gross, I just want to give you a full expectation of what you can expect if you start carnivore and you just go right into it. But again, know yourself, know whether you need to ease yourself in or know whether you need to jump in, just like I did. The other challenge is other people. And when I say this, I mean, you want to be selective about who you tell if you're going to go on the carnivore diet. People are uneducated and people care about you and they're going to hear that you're just eating meat and they're going to say things to you like, oh my God, Isn't that going to spike your blood pressure? Isn't that going to hurt you? Isn't that going to do this? Isn't meat bad for you? All these different things that they saw on CBS News on the 6 p.m. special, right? All this junk, garbage news that isn't real news. It's fake news. And explaining to them why you're on carnivore, especially at the beginning, is going to be near impossible. Even now, if you asked me, Brandon, explain the science behind carnivore and explain why meat's good for you, explain why carbs are bad, sugar's bad, I could give you some ideas from experience mainly of not eating those things, but I can't give you all of the scientific data and the research papers that have been done. And by the way, there are thousands of them and thousands upon tens of thousands, if not millions of people who are on the carnivore diet today. But if you want some of that scientific research, again, go to the description, check out some videos from Dr. Ken Berry and Dr. Anthony Chafee and whoever else I put down there. But explaining to other people why you're on the carnivore diet is going to be one of the more difficult parts. Now, if you explain to them how you felt since you've done it, if you've been doing it for 2, 3, 4 weeks, even if you don't have all the knowledge and the research, it's easy to explain your experience. And there has been no downside to the carnivore diet, zero downside whatsoever. My wife will bring home ice cream, which I used to eat with her 3 times a week. We'd have a giant pint of Ben & Jerry's ice cream or ice cream from a local gas station called Stewart's, which they have fantastic ice cream, probably the best I've ever had. And I used to eat 3 pints a week. And now I watch her eating it and I remember how good it tastes, but I'm not inclined to get any. I'm not craving it. I'm not saying to her, oh, don't keep that in the house. Don't have that. Like, there can be junk in the house now. And I just look at it and I remember how I used to be, right? And I remember how good I feel now. So explaining to other people has probably been the greatest challenge for me on carnivore. So as a result, I'm very selective about who I tell that I'm on carnivore, except for now that this information is public to everyone listening and watching this broadcast. One of the other challenges for especially those people who are very snacky and they like to have their snacks, and I was one of those people. I'd be at work, and if I was hungry, I couldn't necessarily go in the back and put a steak on the pan fryer we have back there. So I started looking into different snacks that you can eat on carnivore. And remember, anything from an animal you can eat. And you always want to read the ingredients. You want to be very, very specific with what it is you're putting in your body on carnivore, because you want to be eating the right things and you want your body to stay in ketosis. But I found this company called Carnivore Snax. And they have a bunch of different snacks from many different animals. They've got lamb, they've got beef, they've got a couple other things too. You can go on their website, which I'll link in the description for you to check out. But this isn't just beef jerky, right? This is literally beef and salt. It's 2 ingredients. And they use Redmond's real salt, which is some of the best salt that you can eat on anything. And it is miraculous. It is amazing. And my favorite is the ribeye. I bought about 5 bags of different cuts. I got eye of round. I got ribeye. I got beef sliders, which were pretty good. But I think my favorite's the ribeye. It's not cheap. It's about $30 a bag. But this is perfect for the people who are on the go. You're a busy professional. You're at work and you don't have time to necessarily make a full meal. Carnivore Snax has been a game changer for me, and I've always got some carnivore snacks in my pantry. I'll put a link in the description down there for you. I can't get you a discount because I'm not sponsored with them. This isn't a sponsor, but I love the product and I'm happy to mention the product. Another challenge that I faced in the first week of carnivore is I started to feel a little low energy. And I thought this was because of me not eating carbs and me not eating sugar, which I'm sure a part of it was. But when I was talking to Ben about that, he's like, it sounds like you're not getting enough salt. And I was like, well, how are you getting enough salt? He's like, well, I have these supplements that I've been adding to my water once a day. They are called LMNT, LMNT, element supplements. Because on carnivore, you don't need supplements. You don't need potassium. You don't need vitamin D. You don't need those things. You're getting all the vitamins and nutrients that you need from the meat that you're eating. And red meat is the best place to get all those vitamins and nutrients. But for those who live a very active lifestyle, for those who are on the go, for those who want that boost of energy, I highly recommend you grab some LMNT supplements. And the way this works, and I'll open it and I'll show you here. They've got many different flavors. I personally prefer unflavored because the taste of the artificial sweetener, I'm not a big fan. I've only tried one other flavor, which was strawberry, which I actually have one of those in here as well. So I've got strawberry, I've got unflavored. My mom's drinking the strawberry and she absolutely loves it. but I found the unflavored to be amazing. And it does taste salty. You put it in your water. So I'll put it in my big water like this. It's about 32 ounces of water. I'll shake it up, and it is salty. So you want to put it in a lot of water. But one of these packets contains 1,000 milligrams of sodium, 200 milligrams of potassium, and 60 milligrams of magnesium. All of the things that you might not necessarily be getting from the meats that you're eating, unless you're eating the perfectly right meats. If you're eating only red meat, you're probably going to be fine as long as you're adding a lot of salt to it. But this is going to give you the extra boost that you need throughout the day to have lasting energy throughout the day and to feel good and have mental clarity as well. So I will put a link in the description for LMNT as well for those thinking about carnivore and you want to make sure you're all set to go. Grab some LMNT, grab some Carnivore Snax. Neither of them are sponsored, but I highly recommend both products, and I would not go without them on this carnivore diet. So you're probably wondering, Brandon, what's next? Are you going to continue carnivore? Are you going to go to a keto diet? Are you going to go to a ketovore diet? And I won't go into what all those things are in this video. But my goal right now is I'm going to stick with carnivore for a total of 90 days. And the reason I want to do that is I want to have a good sample size of time to know, how am I feeling? How do I look? Right? How do I feel overall as a result of the carnivore diet? So I'm going to do this for 90 days. And I want to start interviewing some experts on my channel to have on the Be Better broadcast that you're listening to right now that can give us some of the research, that can give us some of the studies, that can share their own experience. So I'll be reaching out to some of those individuals as well. But I want to bring you any information that will help you to feel better, that will help you to live better, and that will help you to be better in your life. I'm devoted to that. We are up to almost 360 episodes on the Be Better broadcast of talking to different experts to help you live a better life, and we're not stopping now. I hope all this information helps you to become more educated on carnivore diet. And if you're thinking about doing it, my recommendation is just go all in. Whether you need to jump in head first or transition, that's completely up to you. But go for it, see how you feel, and worst case scenario, go back to eating the way that you were eating before. And now you'll know how the carnivore diet feels for you. Thanks so much for watching and listening. Be sure to like this video. If it helped you, please share it with a friend. And until we talk again next time, continue to be better.